morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa regular press briefing ni Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Before we begin, we'd like to greet happy birthday, Miss Rocky. All right.
Salamat.
This morning, we are pleased to have National Youth Commission Chairperson Carissa Aiza Seguera with us. Chair Aiza will discuss the NYC's preparations for the International Youth Day 2017. Chair will also invite us to support the Sine Kabataan short films, which are included in the Pista ng Pelikulang Pilipino from August 16 to the 22nd in cinemas nationwide. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps, let's all give a warm welcome to Chair Aiza Seguera. Yes.
Thank you po. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo. Unang-una po, nais po naming ipabatid na simula po bukas, August 16 hanggang August 22, simula na po ang Pista ng Pelikulang Pilipino. Napapanahon po bilang mga Pilipino dapat po nating tangkilikin ang mga pelikulang gawa ng Pilipino para sa Pilipino. Ito ay bilang pagpupugay na rin po sa ikasandaang taon ng Pelikulang Pilipino. Sa una-unang pagkakataon po ay meron po tayong film festival sa buong Pilipinas. At of course, nakakataba po ng puso, nakasama po sa full-length films ang 12 maiikling pelikula para po sa Sine Kabataan Short Film Competition. Ang mga pelikula pong kasama ay ang Pahimakas ni Lance Maravillas, Dorothy ni Angelique Evangelista, Akalingwan ng Rosa ni Max Canlas, Haraya ni Daniel Delgado, Alipato ni Michael Joshua Manahan, MacArthur ni Brian Spencer Reyes, Yeah Right ni Gab Messina, Delayed si Jemerlyn Rose ni Don Senok, Ang Unang Araw ng Pasukan ni Arjen Manlapig, Shaded ni Vanessa Estanol, Ang Kapitbahay Ko sa 2014, Anya Zulueta, and Fat You ni Ronel Rivera III. Inilunsad po ng National Youth Commission ang Sine Kabataan Short Film Competition nearly 2 months ago upang mapatunayan po na ang pelikula ay isa sa mga epektibong daan para maipahayag po ng mga kabataan ng kanilang mga saloobin tungkol po sa mga issues that affect the Filipino youth. At hindi po kami nagkamali. Ang inakala po naming 35 entries ay lumobo po ng halos 200 entries. Medyo nahirapan po kami sa pagpili. At hindi lang ho yan, talaga naman pong ang mga pelikulang mapapanood nyo ay may kurot sa puso. Ito mga short films mo na naisubmit sa National Youth Commission ng mga kabataan ay tunay na malikhain at may kamulatan sa mga nangyayari po sa kapaligiran. Inanyayahan din po ng National Youth Commission ng mga batikang direktor na sina Direk Raymond Red, Director Carlos Seguin Reyna, kasama po si National Youth Commission Commissioner Percival Sendanya, upang sila po ang mag-select ng aming Best Picture at Jury's Choice. Sana po sa mga makakapanood ng mga pelikulang ito ay hindi lang po kayo mag-enjoy, ngunit sana po mapulutan din po natin ng aral. Marami pong mga youth issues na matatalakay sa mga pelikula na ito, and I hope we all take it with a grain of salt. Importante po na hindi lang mga kabataan na maka-enjoy dito, pero sana po ang buong Pilipinas, ang mga Pilipino, makita niyo po ang pinagdadaanan ng mga kabataan ngayon. Pangalawa naman po, I also want to take this opportunity to inform everyone that we celebrated the International Youth Day last August 12 sa Luzon, sa Visayas, at sa Mindanao. Ito pong celebration po ng International Youth Day is mandated by a United Nations resolution passed several years ago. A workshop to craft the Youth Manifesto for Peace Building and Security was attended by Mindanaoan youth leaders and was facilitated by the National Youth Commission in partnership with the UNICEF, the City Government of Iligan, and the ARMM Office on Bangsamoro Youth Affairs. In the youth's quest for peace and security in Mindanao, please allow me to read the manifesto. Youth Manifesto for Just and Lasting Peace, presented at the 2017 International Youth Day celebration in Iligan City, August 13, 2017. We, the youth of Mindanao, continue to stand with our people for peace in our homeland. Mindanao is an island that knows conflict unlike any other. From the island provinces in the west, into the fields of central Mindanao, and up the mountains in the eastern coast, military operations against various armed groups have been going on for decades. In Mindanao, people are constantly under threat of displacement and terror, and the youth are among the most adversely affected sectors. But peace is not merely the end of these long-running conflicts. It is, at its very core, the present and constant assurance of justice for all. Given this, it is the role of the youth to push for progressive policies that respond to our present circumstances and reflect the values, not the fears, of our time. We, the Mindanaoan youth, are committed to good governance and youth participation. We acknowledge that to forward the agenda of the youth, there is a need for better involvement in governance, particularly in the ongoing peace processes and the observance of human rights principles. The youth, as stakeholders, must be properly trained and empowered as agents of peace and leaders of the future. Thus, shared governance between the youth sector and public officials at all levels is important. We therefore support the implementation of the Sangguniang Kabataan Reform Act and other legislation that affirm this. We must also establish linkages among different youth groups and other stakeholders. Equitable programs must be carried out as a response to latent inequalities in society, allowing all and every youth to have access to leadership opportunities. We, the Mindanaoan youth, are committed to protection from and prevention of conflict and violence. Terrorism hampers nation building and is a threat to peace and security. The youth, as it seeks avenues toward genuine change, are often marginalized, making us vulnerable to radicalization and violent extremism. Thus, there is a need for integration of peace education in all schools, including alternative learning institutions, indigenous schools, and madaris. The youth, along with other vulnerable and marginalized sectors, must be protected. Peace zones, including schools, hospitals, and religious structures, must be free from the presence of state or non-state armed groups. Our government must also exhaust all efforts to ensure access to basic social services despite conflict, and to uphold and respect for human rights at all times. We, the Mindanaoan youth, are committed to rehabilitation and integration of wayward youth. We believe that for a better future, the rehabilitation and reintegration of the youth must be prioritized. Thus, we must dedicate ourselves to support efforts addressing the psychosocial, educational, and employment needs of this generation. We believe that the lost and the fallen must be found and uplifted. The hungry and the thirsty must be fed and satiated. We believe that the displaced and traumatized must be sheltered and provided with debriefing and counseling, including community-based mental health programs, so that they will not become deviants of society. We, the Mindanaoan youth, are committed to embracing diversity and fighting discrimination. Mindanao is home to people of different faiths and cultures. Recognizing our diversity is a source of knowledge, and embracing our differences is a source of strength. Our struggles are not all one and the same, yet we share the same aspirations. We believe that solidarity is essential to our way of life. Thus, there should be relevant and intensive information dissemination, alongside interfaith dialogues towards understanding one's culture and religion. The history of Moro and indigenous peoples must be institutionalized in our basic education curriculum to enable us to go beyond stereotypes and genuinely understand various peoples in the Philippines and appreciate their heritage. The youth must not be seen as passive victims, rather as active participants in the midst of conflict and crisis. Only then can we be meaningful partners in finding solutions and realizing our nation's pursuit for peace. We believe that if we, the youth, will be united, we will be primary movers of peace in Mindanao and in the rest of the country. We urge the national and local governments to regularly allocate sufficient funds and resources for programs and policies affecting young people to ensure sustainable youth development. The youth shall inherit the call for lasting peace, a call that the peoples of Mindanao have been striving to realize. We believe that peace and security is needed to build on the gains of our forefathers and to ensure the continuity and consistency of our nation's development. We believe that our appreciation of this continuing struggle will further strengthen our desire for peace. Whether our contributions towards realizing these visions will be big or small, it will not matter. What matters is how we will make things happen. And we need to begin now. After all, who we are today is but a glimpse of who we will be in the future. The fulfillment of the youth's promise begins today. Maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta sa Presidential Communications Office. Secretary Abelia, maraming salamat po. Asik Queenie, Malacañang Press Corps, thank you for giving us your time. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Okay, questions? MPC? MPC questions? When you say education, sa local government units to allocate funds, especially education, meron na ba kayong mga nakausap regarding this?
Of course po, ang DepEd naman is continuously, andyan naman po sila ang suporta po nila. But I think ang sinasabi po dito ay napaka-importante na ang edukasyon ay hindi lamang mapako sa academics. Napaka-importante po ang edukasyon para matutunan magkaroon ng mga skills ang mga kabataan. At I think yun po ang hinihiling namin. Not just the formal education, but especially the informal education. Ang maabot po ang mga nasa malalayong lugar, ang mga nasa kaibuturan ng bundok, ang mga nasa may tabi ng dagat. Kasi po, because may lack po ng reach, ng access ng education, dito po nag-uugat ang tinatawag nating extremism dahil po walang counter-narrative.
Pero yung vision nyo para ma-implement talaga yung concrete na ma-establish ito, may coordination na sa mga government agencies para masimulan na?
Ito po actually, this is a very new manifesto. And yes, tama po kayo dyan, ma'am, we will coordinate with all agencies involved mula po sa national hanggang sa local. Especially now po with Bangon Marawi, Task Force Bangon Marawi. We actually requested if we can be part of it. Kahit siguro dun sa isa sa mga subcommittees po doon. Dahil I think it is very important na magkaroon po ng youth lens ang rehabilitation. Ika nga, wag po nating, pag sinabing rehabilitation, sana hindi lang po ma-focus sa infra, dun sa mga bagay na mahahawakan natin. Pero I think mas essential po ang rehabilitation ng kaluluwa. Mas essential ang rehabilitation ng psychosocial ng mga kabataan natin ngayon. Because like what the manifesto said, ayaw po natin ma-turn sila ulit.
Mm-hmm. May Malacañang Press Corps question? Miss Anne. Other issue for Miss Aiza?
Miss.
Laila Salaveria. Mr., my apology.
Okay lang po.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gusto ko lang malaman, ano po yung response dun sa request you to be part of the task force? Sa Bangon
Actually,
Marawi?
we're very happy. We got an email, not really a formal invitation yet, but the email would suffice and pinapapunta kami to Marawi to check out the evacuation centers. And ngayon naman, we are working closely also with the Office on Bangsamoro Youth Affairs para syempre magkaroon din ng aspeto na may mga bagay kaming hindi alam because of culture tungkol sa ating mga Bangsamoro youth. So we are working closely with them also.
So essentially, you will be part of the
We are
program.
waiting for the formal invitation, but the non-formal invitation was already sent.
Thank you.
Okay, for Commissioner Sigera, Ted Tuvera.
Good morning po, Chairperson.
Magandang
Nabanggit niyo po kanina yung sa mga sa mga indigenous, sa Mindanao. May sinabi po si Pangulo before after nung SONA niya sa isang press conference na parang handa na parang may order to bomb lumad schools. Nakausap niyo po ba ang Pangulo tungkol dito at ano po yung pahayag natin sa
Of course, hindi namin nakausap ang Pangulo dito, but ayaw syempre namin mangyari yun. Ang mga eskwelahan, we want to make sure that all schools ay hindi maapektuhan ng kahit anong war, kahit anong power struggle na nangyayari. Kaya of course, we are asking the President to not do that. And ang gusto ko rin naman siguro ay hindi lang po siguro, minsan din kasi nagagamit ang ating mga eskwelahan, no? Sa ng mga grupo na masasabi natin may iba ring agenda. So sana, I'd be very firm about this. Sana, let's lay off our schools. Let's make sure that the youth will study, ang mga kabataan natin ay matututo mag-isip para sa kanilang mga sarili. So wag natin gamitin din ang mga eskwelahan para sa mga iba't ibang agenda.
Tsaka clarify na rin po, yung bahagi po ng manifesto na binanggit niyo po kanina, parang may sinabi po doon na state and non-state armed elements should not be in schools. Ito rin po ba yung...
Yes, of course. State and non-state. Kumbaga, we are about being fair here. Gusto natin masigurado na ang state, ang ating mga sundalo ay talagang nandoon para pangalagaan. Pero sana ang mga eskwelahan, kagaya na sinabi, mga eskwelahan, mga lugar na mga religious institutions ay sana talagang hindi magalaw at marespeto.
Thank you po.
Okay, Jan Rosales.
Good morning, Chairperson.
Good morning.
I would like to ask regarding for the NYC's position. Yesterday, the House Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms voted 19-2, passing through first reading yung postponement ng barangay and sangguniang kabataang elections. Opinion po dito.
Sa totoo lang po, nalulungkot po ang National Youth Commission sa balitang yan. Because may ilang taon na rin po na wala pong tumatayong SK Chair at SK Council. And alam naman po natin na kapag walang kabataan na tumitingin, mahirap po yun eh. Kasi it's hard if old people or if adults will decide for young people. So kami po, ang hinahabol po namin dito ay representation. It is very important na may representation ng kabataan hanggang sa ating mga barangay. So sana po, kung ayaw nilang ituloy yung barangay, maintindihan namin. Pero sana, kahit yung SK naman, sana yung SK ibigay na po sa amin. It's been years. And if ang fear nila ay mangyari, yung mga dating kinatatakutan nila mangyari, that's why there is a reform. Binago na po ang SK ngayon. Please give SK a chance.
A follow-up question dun. How will this affect yung postponement, yung possible postponement since hindi pa naman siya na-implement, dun sa mga niro-roll out na programs ng NYC, given that the SK is the local implementing body of youth programs?
Sa ngayon po, since hindi naman po matutuloy ang SK, but kasama rin naman po sa SK Reform Act ang mga tinatawag nating Local Youth Development Offices. Now, the Local Youth Development Offices po, masaya naman po kami na yun po ay marami na pong mga LGUs ang tumugon doon. Ang local youth development po ay mula provincial level hanggang municipal level po. And ang maganda naman po kahit papano ay through the LYDOs, we will be able to roll out all these programs and policies. And sa mga barangay naman po, since walang SK, may tinayo po sila mga barangay development on youth. So hopefully through the task force ay may pababa pa rin namin yun. But iba pa rin talaga kapag may SK.
Last question on my end. The committee chair, Sherwin Tugna, said na they are poised to pass the postponement this month. Meron po ba kayong gagawing appeal sa mga lawmaker personally mula sa NYC?
Of course, actually, ang mga, not just me, but our commissioners, no, ay napakasipag po sa pag-attend ng lahat ng mga hearing na ito at may kipag-usap. Pero syempre, andun tayo sa kung ano man ang mangyari, the National Youth Commission will make sure that there will be youth representation kahit anong mangyari.
With or without the SK elections?
With or without the SK.
Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, John. Last two questions. Heidi Sampang to be followed by Hannah Sancho.
Good morning, Commissioner. Tanong ko lang po kung may hakbang or efforts po yung NYC to address po yung tumataas at alarming na number po ng mga kabataan na nagkakaroon ng HIV/AIDS.
Ma'am, I will be very honest with you. In Thailand, this happened also before. But it took the whole government, not just the government, but even the private sector to fix this. The condom distribution, number one. Talagang mula sa college students hanggang sa mga preschool. Tinuruan po nila ang mga kabataan just to make sure that hindi sila maging awkward when we are talking about condoms. Even in gas stations, kapag nagpa-full tank ka doon, bibigyan ka nila ng box of condoms. But here in the Philippines, we cannot even do that. So, kahit ano pong gawin naming seminar, kahit anong gawin namin, if we cannot get the full support of the government, of everyone. Tataas at tataas po yan. And it's continuously rising, ma'am. That's why I'm asking for everyone's support. Not just the government, but I'm asking especially the families, the parents. Since we need your help here, kailangan po namin ng tulong ninyo, not just for HIV, but teenage pregnancy also. It's going up. We're number 1. Hindi siya magandang number 1 eh. So sana po matulungan niyo po kami. If we continue to deny that this is happening, kung unahin po natin yung ating culture of sensitivity, kung unahin po natin itong mga bagay na ito, wala pong mangyayari sa atin. Patuloy po ang pagtaas ng HIV at ng teenage pregnancy. But if tayo ay magiging proactive about this, then maybe we have a chance in fixing this.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. Last question, Hannah, Sanjo.
Clarify lang po yung sa number 1 na sinabi niyo. Saan po? Sa Southeast Asia?
Southeast Asia po.
Sa Southeast Asia. Susuportahan po ba ng National Youth Commission yung possibility na i-revive yung National College Entrance Examination na pinag-iisipan ng CHED para makontrol yung possible exodus ng students sa mga SUCs?
That I will have to discuss first with the Commission. Since we're a collegial body, any statement that comes out should be discussed first. But thank you for bringing that up. I will talk to them about it.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. Okay, thank you, Chairperson Aiza Sigera. Again, my apology. Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
Morning. We'd like to begin with congratulations. We'd like to congratulate Gilas Pilipinas on its 3rd straight win last Saturday. They topped Group B in 2017 FIBA Asia Cup. We wish our players good luck as they advance to the quarterfinals, scheduled tomorrow, Wednesday, August 16. Also, some bright lights in the horizon. Tourist arrivals up by 12.7% in the first half of 2017. The DOT announced an increase of 3,357,591 in the foreign tourist arrivals for the period of January to June 2017, or 12.7% higher compared to same period in 2016. We attribute this to the performance of the government's hard work in improving the country's image and infrastructure of maintaining a safe and relaxing environment. Some answers to some of the questions. On the DOH budget, the additional 1.5 billion to government hospitals, we have to remember, is a congressional insertion in the 2017 General Appropriations Act, GAA. This was not restored in 2018 National Expenditure Program because it was a non-recurring project. This is according to DBM. Okay. Also, the LRMCs offered to operate the MRT-3. We understand that the offer of the Light Rail Manila Corporation to operate MRT-3 is subject to the review and evaluation of the Department of Transportation. Regarding the LTFRB's 1-month suspension of Uber, we affirm the positive and beneficial service offered by the transport network companies, TNCs. However, as per LTFRB, Uber Systems unduly challenge its rules and instructions. The issue here is striking a balance between innovation and laws and regulations that Land Transportation and Franchising Board has to implement as part of its administrative function in regulating common carriers. Also, regarding the House panel and filed on, the Dangerous Drugs Board Committee of House of Representatives wants that the BOC chief fired for alleged gross incompetence and corruption. From the palace, the president said he will wait for the reports of both chambers of Congress before deciding how to best address issues in the Bureau of Customs. We note that the statement of the House Dangerous Drugs Committee and chair, and we await other reports. Regarding the bird flu situation, We sympathize with the plight of our farmers and other sectors in the poultry industry, which are burdened by the drastic measures needed to contain and eradicate our first ever avian flu outbreak. Despite their lack of personnel, we urge DA and BAI to expedite the virus clearing, to minimize the losses and hasten the recovery of the poultry industry. Perhaps if needed, the AFP can field more men to cull birds. This is, after all, no small calamity. Regarding the supposed U.S. bombing in Marawi, Secretary Lorenzana serves a warning to all. Even leading news networks can get it wrong and fall prey to false reports and fake news. Being careful and always double-checking reports, especially online material, are a must before sharing and acting on anything. Let us help one another in fighting fake news. We're open to a few questions.
Questions? Pia Ranyada.
Good morning, sir. Sir, in the schedule of the President, we saw that he will be meeting with the Teodoro couple.
Yes.
May we know what they will be discussing during these two separate meetings?
We don't have details regarding that matter. I did check because you asked, but I wasn't able to get any details. Thank you.
Hannah Sancho. Microphone, please.
Sir, wala pong relation sa... tinawag po ba yung couple, sir, para makatulong sa Marawi rehabilitation?
Wala po akong detalye patungkol doon. As soon as we can get, we'll...
Sir, same question dun kay Chair Isa regarding dun sa possibility na ibalik yung National College Entrance Examination para po daw maiwasan yung, yung exodus po sa SUCs. Pala statement kung susuportahan po.
Ma'am, we will have to refer that to CHED, and then as soon as we can get a report, we'll get back to you.
Okay. Laila Salaveria, question?
Good morning. Sir, on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Uber issue, some commuters are saying that the suspension actually deprives them of a service that they need because of the inadequacy of public utility vehicles. Sir, what is the palace's assessment on public transportation, and what do you think could be done to improve this?
Ma'am, in general, I don't have a comment. We leave that to the DOTR. But however, regarding the Uber matter, we said we do empathize with the traveling public. It affects everyone, including us at times. On the other hand, that's exactly why we wish that the LTFRB and the Uber situation should be completed as soon as possible. It should be addressed and it should be resolved as soon as possible.
But do you see a need to, at the same time, institute reforms in public transportation or improvements?
That is for the DOTR to
Okay, follow up?
address.
Thank you.
Ina Andolong.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, in Davao City, the taxis are a lot more efficient. They do not decline passengers. Is the
Yes.
President aware that in the country's capital, it's totally the opposite? I mean, marami pong complaints
Yes.
coming from commuters because of these taxis, because I believe when he was still mayor, he was very tough against taxi drivers who say no to passengers.
Yes.
Has he ever expressed his position on this?
As far as I know, he has not. We have not heard any comment. I have not heard any comment regarding that. However, that matter ought to be addressed by the local government. I mean, it was, after all, Davao City is, after all, a local, under a local government, and the effectivity of the local transport there was due to their firm stand. So I would suppose that the similar the political will exercised here would
In a
give
way,
us more
sir,
efficiency.
I do recall that at one point the former mayor would, paano ba to? Medyo he made some taxi drivers. He would confront abusive taxi
Yes.
drivers in Davao City. Is that something that are you saying that maybe local
I'm not saying.
governments
I mean, the style is
or
different.
just take
It was
a
his
tougher stance? I mean,
A tougher stance. It should be. There should be firmer implementation of the law.
Follow up? Joseph Morong.
So just to be categorical about it, the palace agrees with the LTFRB's decision to suspend, no?
It understands the situation and therefore will support LTFRB.
Or when you say empathize, is it not going to be equivalent with government action naman to soften kind of the effect of suspending it for a month?
No, the point simply is that it should be resolved as soon as possible.
Okay.
Should be resolved as soon as possible and ease the traveling situation, especially in NCR region.
Is it possible to shorten it? I mean, it could be less than a month.
That I cannot presume on. I cannot presume on what their actions are, but the sooner that the said institution complies, then the sooner these things will be resolved.
Oh, sir, thank you.
Okay, Pia Reñada.
So just more on the Uber issue. Some lawmakers are saying, especially si Senator Grace that the sanctions on Uber aren't commensurate to the violation. She, for example, is suggesting that it would have been better perhaps to fine Uber instead of suspend their operations given the large impact on commuters. What's the palace take on this? Are there other ways that you would suggest for this issue to be tackled that won't harm commuters?
Well, I suppose Ms. Poe's comment has its own merit. However, we do need to understand that the one in charge is LTFRB, and we go by that.
Okay, other issue? Jen Rosales.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday, Senate President Pimentel told Malacañang that the executive should not force or pin them down into passing the tax reform bill in full. What is the palace statement on this? Are we pushing the lawmakers to pass train? And yung pagtutulak ba natin ng train na ito sobra-sobra na?
I don't know about using the words pushing and any of these matters. However, we do need reforms. So I think there should be a sort of give and take between the House and the executive.
But if hindi siya mapasa in full, will the President appeal to lawmakers to at least amend it?
That will be up to the President, whether to appeal or not, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Other issue? Yeah, please state
Yes,
your name, please.
Good morning, sir.
Yes,
Diana
ma'am.
Escapante po from Manila Times.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, about the postponement of the barangay and SK elections,
Yes, ma'am.
it was said that it has to be postponed to read the barangay level of narco politicians and drug money, and yet there's a statement from the president that it's very hard, it's tough to eradicate the drug problem in 6 years. So how do you reconcile his statement that it's very hard 6 years is not enough to address the drug problem, and yet he is pushing for the postponement to address the drug problem at the barangay level? So how does the postponement of the barangay elections exactly help in eradicating
First
drugs?
and foremost, we need to understand that the President is really deeply committed to the transformation of the social structures of the nation, especially institutions like these. If we remember right, if memory serves us right, PRD's position regarding this is to avoid, regarding the postponement, is to avoid the use of drug money for the election of barangay officials, which are linked or who are linked to the illegal drug trade. In the meantime, the DILG he also works in conjunction with the DILG, which is tasked to look into the alleged involvement of narco politicians. In other words, work does not stop. The continued efforts to stop narco politicians does not stop. It just so happens also that it is one of the realities on the ground that narcotics is deeply embedded within the society. However, that does not stop the President's efforts. And one of this is to make sure that drug money does not legalize, drug money used for re-election will not be used to legalize the legalized entry of a new set of narco politicians.
Okay, follow up? Other issue, Pia Gutierrez.
Good morning, sir. Sir, the reason why the issue of on Uber and Grab is such a big issue with the public is because of the strong dissatisfaction of the public with the taxi service. Sir, is the palace satisfied with the LTFRB's action to address naman yung current state of taxis?
I don't know if the word satisfied is the apt word to use, but however, that is what we have. You know, it is the president, it is the executive arm implementing its own form of reforms. So I don't have the word is satisfied, but that is what we have, and we stand by that.
Okay, follow up? Other issue, Rosalie Cos? Okay na?
Okay.
Pia?
Sir, could we just get an update on the 3 DILG undersecretaries which some DILG personnel asked the president to fire because apparently the DILG is waiting for word from Malacañang. The letter was already, they're waiting for advice from the Office of the Executive Secretary on their status because their roles are currently being shared by other officials.
We will update you on that. We will take note of the question. We'll update you on that as soon as possible. Yes.
And sir, next question still on the DILG. There's a provision in a law, Republic Act number 6975, prohibiting an AFP chief from taking on the post of secretary within a year of his retirement. Given this, what will the president do since he plans to appoint AFP Chief Anyo to the post of DILG secretary? Is he considering other people for the role given the provision in the law?
He did make mention of General Anyo, and he was also made aware of the provision, and I'm sure he has an alternative solution regarding the matter, or he will be able to, in order to be able to address the matters.
Sir, is Gibochadoro being considered for the post?
I don't have details of the meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Pia, sige, last question na.
Sir, it appears that despite the LTFRB's order to suspend operations, nagpatuloy pa rin, sir, ang Uber with its operations today. And the latest development is that LTFRB is still ordering the MMDA, the HPG, and the LTO to apprehend Uber units following their reactivation. Is the palace behind this move by the LTFRB, despite fears na baka magkagulo in the streets and this would cause, chaos among the passengers na
Are you asking
in
the press
streets?
if the palace
Are you supporting this move by the LTFRB, sir?
Well, the LTFRB is under the Office of the President, right? So, yes, we support that.
But there are fears, sir, na baka magkagulo in the streets.
It will have to be handled with discretion.
Okay, thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.
Happy birthday.